Hello everybody, Chris with Night of Living Card Games here for day 11 of my Earthborne Rangers Legacy of the Ancestors campaign. You may notice there's a gap between day 9 and day 11 called day 10. I played that the other day, but unfortunately the video file was all corrupted and everything, so I lost it. And rather than play again, I'm just skipping over that day. It honestly wasn't a particularly exciting day. I started in the chimney, I went down to the Desert of Endless Night, I got bogged down there, but I managed to get out over to the Drenching Chamber and camp so I could get in my reward cards. The most important one being the Rebreather. So now the Rebreather will allow me to come down and go to the Severed Artery and then go down to the Cerulean Curtain and make it down to where we need to go. So what I did was I swapped in some reward cards. I put one copy of Rebreather in because it's a setup card. I only put one in, and I put 2 copies of the Expedition Journal out. And so what I've done is I have taken out 1 copy of the Bravest Ranger and both copies of Deliberate to make room for that. So I'm at the Drenching Chamber. I've got everything set up. This is a setup card, so after I get everything set up, I can pull 1 card with the setup trait out. So I've got the Rebreather out, and so just taking a look at it, Rebreather is a Gear Tech and Estian card. It takes up 1 gear slot. It comes in with 4 filters. So it has a setup keyword, and it says exhaust and use 1 filter. When you would interact with a water card, commit 2 effort. And this gear cannot be discarded or returned to your hand by path card effects, so it stays out there. Alright, so looking at it, the Drenching Chamber, not the Drowning Chamber, Drenching Chamber. The first thing you hear as you enter the chamber is the constant plip and plop of water droplets falling into the still water that pools around your ankles and gurgles into cracks in the floor and passages along the chamber walls. Every so often, the relative quiet is interrupted by a surge of water pouring in from the large circular hatches in the ceiling. Based on your internal compass, you're willing to bet that this chamber lies not but a few meters beneath the bottom of the Silverfin River. The only path you spot heading deeper into the Arcology has flooded with water. The water is right up to the top of the passageway, and it stretches further than you can see. Not knowing where the passage leads, nor how long and winding the course may be, you're confident that you do not have the lung capacity to both navigate the passage and make it through safely to the other side. So it says search the general set for flooded passage and put it into play. So the flooded passage is a ruin and water feature with a 0 presence. It has 4 progress threshold, and it says progress cannot be added or moved to this feature except by a ranger with an equipped Rebreather, which I now have. If I clear it with progress, you will be able to travel from this location along routes locked by the water lock icon, and I read 156 when I clear that. Alright, that is it. And so we'll draw our opening hand and then deal with that setup. So we got a Bravest Ranger, Expedition Logbook, Stout-Hearted Guardian, Galaw's Blade, another Expedition Logbook, and Compassionate. Well, I'm going to pitch Compassionate another expanded logbook, or Expedition Logbook, since I've got 2 of them. You know what? I'm going to just do that. I'm just going to mulligan those 2. So I got the Vaulting Rod and Pakoto. All right. Alright, and now the Drenching Chamber on setup is Lead Ranger, search the path deck for the next feature and put it into play. It is an elevated passage. So that will help us if we wanted to go up, which we don't want to. The important thing is the presence of 0, so we don't need to worry about it. And as a reminder, the Drenching Chamber is a 1 presence, 3 per ranger progress threshold, And when a ranger performs a traverse test on this location, they may spend 1 energy of any type to commit 1 extra effort. That's handy. All right, let us get ourselves going here. So we're going to spend 2. First things first, we're going to get our stout-hearted guardian out. 2 spirit there. We are going to spend 1 to get the expedition logbook out. So the expedition logbook is a 1 fitness cost. It is a gear and book traded. Has 3 entries. It says focus plus exploration and use 1 entry. Consult observations to the Arcology to add 1 progress to a feature for every 2 effort. If that feature is a ruin or machine, add progress equal to your effort instead. Then read 197. Okay, so that is that. So I wanted to get that out and read what happens with 197 since I'm trying to find the expedition's path. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to traverse here. So I'm going to spend 1 fitness, and I will exhaust this to add 3, to add 2 to it. So I'm a 3 versus a 0. 0, I succeed with 3. Right, red challenge, nothing, 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 nothing. Oh, and for weather, I am still at the enveloping silence weather. All right. So what do I got to do here? So let me just see this real quick. So focus plus that. If it's a ruin or machine. Is this a ruin? It is a ruin. So you know what? Sure. We are going to try this. I'll use... So I'm a 1 versus a 0. Because it's a ruin, if I get it, I'll just put that progress on there. So 0, I succeed with 1 effort. So I get to put 1 on here because it is a ruin feature. And then I read 197. Expedition Logbook. Each time you read this entry, choose 1 of the following ventures of the depths of passage to read. Venture to the depths, days 1 through 3. I will read that one first. You read through the first few entries, which was kept by Holland Helger herself. Besides Holland, the expedition's 3 other members were a shaper named Yara, an explorer named Zavi, and an artificer named Timo. Much of the logbook details the preparation for the expedition. Records of food and supplies, training runs on caves along the western edge of the valley, and endurance hikes up and down the Silverfin. Then the expedition sets off from Spire. The first 3 days are spent cataloging and mapping the spaces just below Spire. You know they are pretty well explored, but as you go through Holland's notes, you realize that you had no idea just how extensive even those passageways are. It appears Holland planned to be extremely thorough, and she and her team hope to map the entirety of the Arcology from top to bottom. Right, that is the first entry. Right, I now clear this guy, so I get to read 156. All right, you slip the rebreather over your face and plunge into the water. The dark passageway leads on through many twists and turns, and you encounter many dead ends that require you to double back and search for another way forward. Surely you would have perished here had you attempted this feat without the aid of the curious Estian device. You can travel from this location along routes locked by the water icon. Discard all progress from Flooded Passage and attach it face down to the current location as a reminder. When you travel, return Flooded Passage to the general set. Alright, so that was that, and now I got to take care of the challenge effect. This is I need to spend an energy. We'll spend a spirit energy. And nothing, nothing, and nothing. So that is that. I don't have anything else for me to do at the moment. I don't really want to move myself up because I'm trying to go down. So I am going to choose to rest. Nothing happens on rest, so we're up to refresh. And we draw a card. It is a bold. That's convenient timing. And now we draw a path card. Prismatic mushrooms. Illumination, mycelial, feature flora, fungus. And I just realized I did forget to draw a path card at the start of the game. So sure, we'll just do this. A juvenile spindle scutter. If it is illuminated, it loses disconnect, so it is not disconnected right now because of the mushrooms are illuminating the area. All right, first things first. Let us spend 2 to get my good friend Pakoto out. Let's try to connect with Pakoto. So I am a 1 versus a 1 here. -1, I fail. All right, I need to spend an energy. Let's spend a focus. Nothing, nothing here, nothing here. Okay, here we do have stuff. So what do we got? Add to the feature with the highest presence. And this is, I may exhaust to soothe 1 fatigue. I don't have any. All right, so I will add 2 damage to an active feature with the highest presence. So we have 2 features, both with a 0 presence. And if it's a flora, add 2 progress to this being. So we will put it here. So we will put 2 damage on here. That defeats it. But what it does mean is the spindle scuttler is happily munching away on some mushrooms, so he is a little content. And that was that test. So, tell you what, let's try to avoid the spindle scuttler. So I'm just going to go 2 to 2. We'll just do 2 to 2. 0, I succeed, so he is exhausted. Red challenge effect, nothing is active with a red challenge effect. We are now going to try to traverse here. We are a 4 versus a 1. -1, so I succeed with 3 progress, which is going to be enough. Red challenge effect, nothing on the board that is active has the red challenge effect. So we are done with our energy. We have nothing left. So we are going to choose to rest and we are going to travel. So we have enough progress. So we are going to travel down the Flooded Ruins set down to the Severed Artery. So we will see what's going on there. So I will get that set up and I will be right back. All right, here we are at the Severed Artery. You come to an excavated chamber. In one direction, it recedes into complete darkness. In the other, it ends abruptly. Judging by the tumbled boulders and the state of the Estian transit line, there was a cave-in here long ago, causing the line to twist and rip like the green branches of a sapling. All right, looking here at the setup, so path deck assembly, randomly choose and shuffle only 2 cards from the artery set into the path deck. And then arrival setup, the lead ranger searches the deck for the next feature and puts it into play. So next feature is Incendiary Lily. So this is a water feature, a ruin and flora, 1 presence, 3 harm, a 4 progress threshold, and we can do a test to harvest it. And if we add damage to it, and if it runs out of damage, we suffer an injury. It blows up in our face. Right, let's see here. So the Severed Artery, it is a location, pivotal, trail, and ruin. Has a presence of 2 and 3 per range of progress, and it says, if within reach is not illuminated, you lose track of your surroundings. Discard 1 progress from an active feature. That's the yellow challenge sun effect. So that is within reach. So, all right, we are now on the refresh phase. So we have another expedition logbook. Right, top of the round, we draw a new path card. Oh no, it is that guy. Ugh, I don't like him. All right, well, he ambushes us for 2. Unfortunately, I don't have any aid cards out, so I can't do that jazz. All right, that is unfortunate. All right, well, my turn, so I get to decide what do I want to do here. Let's try to avoid the axolotl tech. So I'm a 2 versus 2 on this. 0, I succeed, so he is exhausted. However, yellow challenge sun, I either spend an energy or bad things happen. And then this one is I discard progress from an active feature, which there isn't any progress on any active features. Nothing on the missions. He's exhausted now, nothing there. So that. Perfect. Well, actually, I don't want to do that. I'll do a spirit instead, because I'm going to do a focus. And you know what? Let's use the expedition logbook. I'm going to go 2 versus 1 to try to do this. Oh, I got to shuffle up. We get a +1, so I succeed with 3 effort, and because this is a ruin, I get to put 3 progress on there, and now I get to read another journal entry. Oh, I gotta get that down to 1. So let's look at the next expedition logbook entry. Day 4. With only an hour before the noon mark, we broke through a small cave-in and found ourselves entering a vast, empty shaft. The space rises vertically above us, some dozen meters or so, and it descends to an impenetrable darkness. Zavi dropped a 500-meter plumb line without hitting bottom, so we knew we had quite the descent ahead of us. The shaft can be traversed by a wide spiral ramp. Platforms and walkways split from it at intervals. I think there was some order to them once, but many have sheared off or collapsed. So far, Yara's foresight has helped us safely navigate the ramp's many fissures and gaps. By evening, we had descended well past 500 meters, but the bottom of the ramp was nowhere in sight. It is difficult for me to imagine how Sal Orlin or his apprentices were able to transport the carbon forge to the surface using this passage. It must have deteriorated greatly in the 100 years since. The gloom is absolute, and the light of Timo's Lambent's rigs reaches only a short distance. After making camp on the ramp, we had a spirited debate on whether we should be exploring the passageways that branch off from the shaft, but I have decided that we will first find the bottom of this pit as a group. All right. So that is that. We are now going to try to connect to Pakoto. So 2 versus a 1. -1, I succeed with 1 progress. Red challenge effect, nothing is active. We're now going to exhaust him to spend 2 there. Yeah, let's try it. We are going to spend... We're going to try to traverse here, and so it's going to fatigue me 1 because the lilies are in my way. Is this water? It is not a water, so I can't use my rebreather. So I will just do 3 versus 2. -1, I succeed 2 versus 2. So I do get that. Red crest, nothing is active that's got it. So that is my turn. I am done. So we will rest and then refresh and get everything up. Draw a new card. It is quiet. And now we get a new path card. It is another incendiary lily. All right, let us, first things first, let's try to avoid the veiled Arcolox, or one of these days I'll learn to actually pronounce it properly. Axolotl tack. Veiled axolotl tack. So 2 versus 2. -1, I fail, red crest. So if you have 2 or more fatigue, which unfortunately I do, exhaust this being and suffer an injury. So then on injury, all these go away. And now I will be losing a card every turn. Not ideal, but... Alright, let us do the logbook. We will do it again. We're just going to try 1-1. No, you know, we'll exhaust and do this. So we're 3-1. 3-1, because it is water, so we can use the rebreather on it. And then it's a ruin, so we'll get all on there. So, you know what? We're going to try that one. So 3-1 over there. 0, I succeed. I get 3 progress. I get to read another entry. We're just going to keep going down the entries. So day 5. We have reached the bottom of the shaft. It opens into an echoing hemispherical shape. It appears to be at least half a kilometer across at the base, but the floor is covered in great mounds of rubble and debris that makes estimation difficult. Yara is exhausted from manifesting our safe passage, but Zavi is anxious to explore what lies beyond the chamber. Timo has already begun investigating the remnants of Estian technology strewn about. I've decided to send Zavi, an experienced explorer, to scout ahead. When he returns, we will venture deeper. All right, there are many more entries, but that's all I've got energy on that for right now. So anyway, we've got yellow, though. Yellow, I have to spend an energy. We'll spend a spirit. And then what is this? If within reach is not illuminated, which it is not, discard 1 progress from an active feature. All right. Let us try to, we're going to try to traverse the incendiary lily that has 3 progress on it. So 2 versus 1. +1. Guess I should have done the other one. That is enough to clear that one. Yellow sun, I need to spend another energy. I need to remove a progress from a feature. That's a shame. All right. So we are... Let's try to connect with Pakoto. So 1 versus 1. +1, I succeed. So I get 2 progress on him. Unfortunately, I do not have any other energy to spend. So I add equal to the effort and I flip this card. It's going to have 2 echoes. And now we have the reverberating echo. So Yellow Sun challenge effect is going to be each player suffers a fatigue and discard 1 echo, and then if there are no echoes, flip it. Blue Mountain is ready a predator or prey and discard an echo, and then if it's empty, flip it. And I can do a focus test to discard echoes equal to your effort. Alright, unfortunately, it does mean I lose another progress here. And that is that. So we will now use Pakoto to try to herd the axolotl attack off. And we are done with my turn, so we are going to rest. Can't travel, so on refresh, we suffer a fatigue from our injury. Put our energy back, draw a card. It is Cordo's Instinct. Ready everything up. And now draw a new path card. It is Sparking Circuits. All right, comes in with 2 power, has presence equal to the number of power on the machine, so power of 2 is a feature in a machine. And then powered 1, it gains illumination, so everything within reach is going to be illuminated now, so that's useful there. And then I can do a focus test to redirect the dangerous current and to discard power from this feature and add it to a machine or tech, which the Expedition Logbook is not. Alright, well, that has become unfortunate. Alright, first things first, we're going to use the last on Pakoto to put 6 on here. Let us try to connect to the Veiled Axolotl attack, 3 versus 1. Oh, reshuffle. Let's see if I can get him out of the way. Alright. 3 versus 2. -1, I succeed. 2 progress, that is enough to drive it off. And now we get Blue Mountain. So Blue Mountain is ready a predator or prey. There are no predator or prey that can be ready. And then discard 1 echo. Alright, so we're down to 1 echo there. And then blue is add 1 damage to an active water feature. Alright, well, I don't want to... So this is focus plus a triangle. I don't have any of those icons, and I don't want to go without that, because if I fail, I suffer an injury. So that's not great. So I guess the question, do I suffer a whole bunch of injury? Or not injury, but... fatigue to try to get that last progress I need. Probably not, because I'm a 2 versus a 2, and again, I don't have any icons. So, let us try to remember our ranger training. So we're going to go 1 versus 0. I succeed, so I can look at the top card of my card. It is a Lambent's Rig. That's not useful to me at the moment, so I'm going to put it at the bottom of my deck, draw a new card, follow in footsteps. Okay. Red challenge, nothing here. Powered, it is powered 2. Discard 1 power from this feature and add 1 damage to each card in the same area as it, then it fatigues you. Okay, well, so we add 1 damage here. And that does mean that Pakoto was unfortunately shocked and knocked out by that. And now I suffer a fatigue. less than ideal. Gotta admit. Now I need to shuffle this up. All right. Okay. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Trying to figure out what I do here. All right. All right, so one more damage on this, and I suffer another injury. I don't have to worry about this injuring me again. What's the yellow sun here? Add 1 power to the machine with the most power, so it would go up 2 if I get it. Okay. What is the yellow sun over here? Each ranger suffer fatigue. Okay. All right. Although I don't necessarily like it, I am going to try to traverse. This could in theory end my day. If I don't get this and this triggers, then I would suffer an injury from failing and an injury from this. That would end my day and give me a lingering injury. But we're going to do what we're going to do. All right, a 0. So I succeed. So I get up to 4 on there, so I got enough to travel. Yellow sun suffers of fatigue. And then remove an echo, and because there's none left on it, we flip it back. This one, spend an energy. Okay, this, powered 1. Add 1 power to the machine with the least power, which is this one. And nothing here, and nothing in the missions. All right, so I think I am not going to push my luck anymore. I am going to rest and then choose to travel. All right, so now is the question. So I am at the severed artery. We are connected to this place called the branching artery. We are connected to some place called silent dormitories, and we are connected to the cerulean curtain. And this is how I get down to the next level down, which is what I need to get to. However, I'm also trying to figure out what happened to the previous expedition, and something called silent dormitory sounds very, very intriguing for that purpose. So I think I'm going to take a detour. I'm going to come down here to the silent dormitory and go through the ancient ruin path to get there. So, right, I'm going to get that set up, and I will be right back. All right, we have made it to the silent dormitories. Given the vast caverns and vaulted stone cathedral that make up the Estian Arcology, you didn't expect their living quarters to be so cozy. However, the cluster of habitations you pick your way through are exactly that. Most are single rooms designed for 1 or 2 people, with beds, cabinets, and shelves cunningly shaped into the walls. The effect is that these rooms were somehow grown from carbon-forged composites. Most of the rooms have been somewhat or fully overgrown with moss, greenery, and the seemingly ever-present fungi, but you still find traces of their former owners. Cups and bottles sit on dust-covered shelves, warm golden light radiates from a few of the large globes inset into the walls, and in a couple of rooms, you swear you hear the faint sound of birdsong, although you can't find any living birds anywhere. If you haven't received or completed the artificial adaptation mission, continue reading. I have not. As you explore the habitation areas, you find one room where the bed isn't buried under a thick layer of dust. You see tracks on the floor and evidence that someone was using the shelves, but it isn't until you find a bit of disassembled sole coil and a broken gauze blade hilt left carelessly in a corner that you realize that this was Lund's campsite. The ranger certainly has made it deep into the Arcology. Search the general set for Lund, Curious Scavenger, and shuffle him into the path set. Okay. Lund, Curious Scavenger. Let's get him shuffled in here. And then for Silent Dormitory, the lead ranger will draw a path card. But looking at the other side, we get the Silent Dormitories. It is a 1 presence, 4 per ranger progress threshold. And it has a yellow challenge sun effect that says, the spirits of this place stir. Either discard 2 progress from a feature to soothe 1 fatigue, or suffer 1 fatigue to add 2 progress to a feature. Alright, so we draw a path card. It is Overgrown Vestiges. This feature, trail, floor, and obstacle traded. 1 presence, 2 harm threshold, 6 progress threshold. It is an obstacle, and then if this feature is illuminated, it loses obstacle and gains a test. Alright, well, we're going to have to deal with that. And we are now on the refresh phase. Because of my injury, I suffer a fatigue. Get our energy back, draw a card. I could really use my ranger badge or to be able to fill up an aid card and start working on my fatigue stack, but alas, I did not draw it. Right, top of the round, new path card, we get Humming Circuits. Comes in with 2 powers, 0 presence. Powered 1, it gains illumination. Basically, I can redirect the power on it to another tech, but if I fail, I will get an injury. Alright, so what am I going to do here? You know what? We're going to spend 2. We're going to Cordo's Moment. So I'm going to go look through the deck, put a card, look for a card, put it on the top of the deck, and I'm going to go find Lun, who was actually the next card in the path deck. So, all right, we'll see what the scavenger has to say next round. All right, and put Lun on top. Let's stack the deck in our favor, shall we? Guess we're gonna spend 2 to get fitness to get quiet out. And then we're gonna try to remember my ranger training. So 1 versus 0. I succeed with a progress of 1. So I could look at the top. It is quiet. I don't want quiet, so he's going to go on the bottom, draw a top card. It's a Gauze Blade. All right, now we get a Yellow Sun. We either spend an energy, or we have to flip that over. We'll spend an energy here. Excuse me. Okay, so I either discard 2 progress to soothe the fatigue, or suffer fatigue to add 2 progress to a feature. Well, clearly, I can't do the former, so I've got to suffer a fatigue. So now the question is, I think I will put it on that feature since it is an obstacle. And then nothing in the missions, nothing here. This Yellow Sun says, if it is powered, add 1 power to the machine with the least power. That is that one. Because this is not a machine, right? Nope. There's nothing else for me to do here, so let us rest, which causes me a fatigue. Refresh energy. Draw a card into a dear friend, which I could have also used to get Lun, but top of the hand. Hey, look, it's Lun. Curious Scavenger. So let us read his entry here. Let's see. Standing before the open door of a massive structure in the courtyard, you find Lun once again. From his lap spills a haphazard tangle of cables, connectors, and other Estian bric-a-brac. Many cables lead to an exposed panel in the wall beside the open door. Lun looks somewhat perplexed as he thoughtfully bites his thumbnail. Clear him with progress to ask him what he's doing. So we will do that. So we're going to commit a dear friend 3 progress, so we will be a 4 versus a 2. You know what? We're going to also commit the Bravest Ranger to be a 5 versus a 2. 0, I succeed with a 5. So I get to put 5 progress on him. However, in the same window, I'm going to spend 1 fitness energy to follow in footsteps, so I get to put equal progress to a feature to my effort. So that was 5 there, so I get to put 5 here, which clears this obstacle out. Alright, let me read Lun first, and then I will red crest. Actually, the red crest doesn't even matter, so that's good. Sorry, I'm muting every once in a while because I still have a bit of a lingering cough from the sickness that got me a little while ago. Alright, you ask Lun what he's doing. I'm trying to get this contraption working again, he says, holding up a handheld device cobbled together from scrap. It's a custom-built Estian door opener. The power cell adapters I was able to scavenge shorted out as soon as I used it. He points to several scorch marks on the device. I don't have the replacements to fix it here, so I suppose I'll have to be content with exploring this place. He gestures towards the open door with his thumb. Those locked passages with their giant doors will just have to wait. You recall the locked passage you discovered and wondered aloud if the device could open it. Lun nods. Oh, most certainly, he says. Tell you what, I'll give you my one-of-a-kind artisanal door opener if you promise to fix it. Deal? You agree and shake on it. Lun hands over the device and gathers up his pack. Good luck, he says. It's more complicated than it looks. You found a key to the locked passage. Now you just need to fix it. Gain the artificial adaptation mission and discard Lun, and then soothe to fatigue. All right. Let me soothe to fatigue first. Compassionate and follow in footsteps. Nope. Not my badge, which what I was hoping for. Let's try to find this artificial adaptation mission. There it is. Artificial adaptation. You are searching for power cell adapters used in Estian machinery. When a machine comes into play, add adapters to it equal to its presence. Each card with an adapter gains the following. Focus plus triangle to extract the Estian tech without triggering the Arcology's defenses to move adapters from this card to the artificial adaptation equal to your effort. If your effort is 2 or more, search the general set for a Crimson Guardian and put it into play. Ooh. And then have 1 plus number of Rangers, so 2 in my case, or more adapters on this mission to complete it and read it. It has a blue challenge effect. If an active machine has both power and adapter tokens, the adapter arcs with energy. Discard 1 of each from it. Okay. So I want to succeed on those tests, but not by too much. All right. So that was that. That was clearing 1. So... I guess I'm gonna... I don't have a lot else to do here, so I'm gonna spend 1 to just get a gauze blade down, just because I can. Just in case. And then I'm gonna try to remember my ranger training. 1 versus 0. I succeed, so I get to look at 1 card. Bold. I'm actually going to keep that up, so I'm going to take bold to my hand. Alright, Blue Mountain. Nothing in the missions. Oh, this mission. There's not an active machine that has both power and adapter tokens since that came in after, and nothing up there. So, alright, nothing happens. So I think I'm going to end my turn. My goal is to try to get enough progress to get out of here before I fatigue out, so I can travel and probably just camp, even though I doubt I'm gonna swap cards out. So, alright, so rest, can't travel, refresh, and fatigue. Draw a card is a vaulting rod. Now we draw a path card. It is A bustling light bringer, which is a being in a machine, which matters for that. 1 presence, 3 power, 2 harm, 4 connect, or 2. Yeah, it's a being, so it's a connect. Powered 1, the machine gains illumination, and then etc. So how many go on it? Equal to its presence. So he's coming in with 1 on it. So 3 power. I'm going to, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to use the blue for the adapters. All right, now the question is, well, I only have 3 cards, so could I even do that? Interesting question. All right, my turn. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend 2 to do a Cordo's Instinct. I'm going to try to get a machine at the top of my deck and see if maybe I can do this thing. If there's another machine in here. There is another one. It is the... We got another light bringer in here. No, because that won't come in with... We got another machine that's got a presence of 0, so that won't do anything. That won't do anything. And, ooh, Crimson Guardian. Yeah, I don't want to bring that guy in. If I can avoid it. So... let us... So I've got like 2 turns that I can try to finish this mission at. And we will put the other light bringer on there. All right. So, how do I want to do this? So I could focus 1 to... It doesn't have anything, so I think just 1 to 1. So I don't want to be 2 or more, so oof. That is a tough choice. We'll try it. 1 to 1. Actually, I gotta check something here real quick. Difficulty. Each test has a difficulty. Each test has difficulty. The number in brackets following. There isn't one. There's no number. The difficulty is 1. Okay. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure. So, I fail. Red crest. Nothing happens. Okay. So, I am not going to be able to do this, I don't think. Because... No, Cordo's Instinct goes away. Because I will lose 1 to an injury, and then I'll draw 1. So that'll be next turn. And since I only have 1 focus energy, that's not going to... Oh, man. Not going to be able to do it. Darn it. Let's see, is there anything else I can do for this thing? No, I don't think so. Alright, well. We'll just keep on going with it. Don't want to damage it. Yeah, we're just gonna end our turn and rest. And then on refresh, we lose 1 from that. We draw a card. It's a Landman's Ring. Because I thought I buried 1 last Ranger title, the Bravest Ranger, which would have allowed me to discard cards from my hand instead. But alas. All right, we know that's the Lightbringer, so... Not really gonna matter. Alright, let's... That's the only triangle icon I have, so I'll do 2 versus 1. -1, I succeed, so I get to move this over here. Yellow sun, spend an energy. Sure. We'll spend an awareness here. I can either discard 2 progress from a feature, but I don't have any progress on a feature, so I must suffer a fatigue to add 2 progress to a feature. And that is going to guarantee to end my day. Yellow sun. Oh, I suppose I do have stuff here to do too. So yellow sun, powered 1. If there's an active feature, discard 1 power from this being and add 1 progress to this feature. Okay, so we add 1. And then that's enough to clear this feature out. And then here, if there's another active feature, there is not. I need 1 more focus energy to just one last try to get that out. Oh, well. Is there anything I can do here? These are beings, but I get no benefit if they get cleared. If I try to travel, which I don't think I want to do. Well, although I would be going back up the cave system. All right, let's try something here. Because let me look real quick. So I like these ancient. I like the ancient ruins because it looks like they got a good number of machines in it for this mission. So if I were to travel back to Severed Artery, though, I'm still going through the ancient ruins, so I would still have the machine. So let's see. It is a complete shot in the dark, but we are going to try it. We are going to try to connect 5 versus 1. We'll do 6 versus 1. +1, I succeed with 7. So that clears you. Red crest. Nothing, nothing. Nothing in the missions, nothing up there. Okay. We are now going to have Quiet attack this bustling Lightbringer, dealing it 2 damage, which is enough to defeat it, and he takes 1 in return. Clear that out. We are now going to try to traverse 4 versus 1. And this is not water-based, so I can't leverage my rebreather. So if this is a 0, I have enough and I can travel out of here. If not, then I don't. -1. I fail. Well, I succeed, but with only 3 progress. Blue Mountain, nothing, nothing. This mission, there's no active machine, so that doesn't trigger. Nothing else triggers. There's nothing else for me to do. I do not have enough to travel. I'm going to rest. I do not have enough to travel. So I go to refresh phase. The injury causes me to fatigue, but I have no cards left, so my day ends. Darn. All right. Well, so I'll lose the 1 progress I had on the artificial adaptation, but I will be starting out in the dormitories, and then I will be able to move out, try to clear that out, and then work my way down. Hopefully tomorrow I will be able to get up to the Severed Artery and then go down to the Cerulean Curtain so I can work myself down. And hopefully clearing that mission. So, All right, well, that was day 11. If you made it this far, as always, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I will be back again with day 12 and hopefully making progress down further and further. But like I said, thank you much for watching. If you like it, hit subscribe, leave a comment, whatever. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great day.